ladies and gentlemen, to Godly Thoughts with Komatasi. Today we are taking our scripture reading from John 13, verse 14, the washing of the disciples' feet. It was a fun event. I would have wanted to be there because I often struggle with washing my feet before I go to sleep. It's a bad thing. Listen, Jesus washed his disciples' feet. Jesus had raised Lazarus from the dead. Jesus had fed 5,000 people. It says men, excluding women. So including women, maybe close to 1,000 people were there. Jesus had done, he had walked on top of water. And now finally, the greatest act that he was about to do that day was of washing disciples' feet. They had walked in dusty roads. They had walked in muddy roads, and now Jesus had to touch. And they did not even wear shoes back then. They wore sandals. So washing a person's feet these days is easy. If they don't have smelly socks, it's quite easy. They just have to take off their shoe, and you just wash it. In other words, clean feet. Jesus washed dirty feet. Mostly in a closed room, they did not have air cons and perfumes. So Jesus washed dirty, smelly feet as an act of humility. And he said, I have given you an example. In John 13, verse 15, I have given you an example to follow. Whoever wants to be greatest among you should be the least among his brethren. Now, we see people of God these days who are obsessed with power. When they walk into the church, people should just fall down to the ground in respect. They want red carpet treatment. Every time they walk up into the church, whoever sees them walking out of the church should just throw themselves to the ground out of respect. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be respected, but there's something wrong with not being humble and being too conceited for nothing. You are no longer representing Jesus, but you are representing the devil. Because the devil is the father of pride. We learned about that in Job 40, the very last verses. Verse 31 says, he is father of all who are proud. That verse talks about Leviathan, which is the devil. He is father of all the children of pride. How can you be a representative of God when you are nothing like him? A person who is representing the United States of America in Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia, South Africa behaves like an American in every way. He speaks like the Americans in every way. But you are here representing Jesus, but you are acting in every way like the devil. Where you sit, it has to be over-glorified. Where you walk, it has to be over-glorified. Whatever you do, you have to prove to everyone who is watching you, everyone who is with you there, that you are the greatest of all time. You are to be feared. You are to be honored. You are better than everyone. Everyone is the least. Tell me if there is a prophet today, a man of God today, who is prepared to take dusty feet, kneel down, wash them clean. Jesus says, I have given you an example. There are many other ways you can show humility. In the Jewish culture, washing of feet was one way of showing humility. These days, there are people who do not visit their congregants because they stay in dirty places, because they stay in humbling places, who do not want to visit their congregants because they are in poor hospitals, who do not want to be seen associating with the poor members of the congregation, who always make it a point that they associate themselves with the rich members of the church because of their pride, because they don't want to be humbled, because they don't want to be looked down upon. There are many pastors who don't want to go and shepherd people in rural areas because it is not prestigious. It does not go with their status. They would rather go to the United States, to the UK, they would rather go to Canada. If you put out an advertisement for a pastor who should go and pastor in Canada, people will go to witch doctors and bewitch each other there for that opportunity. If you put that same opportunity away and take instead the person who wanted to go to Canada and say, unfortunately, the Canada vacancy has been filled, you will now be going to Mzarabani. My friend, that won't work. They will completely refuse. Because people want the best, the prestigious, and that which is high in status. Let us be humble before God this week and seek only to follow the example of Jesus. Otherwise, ciao.